Hello and welcome to Recharge Wrestling. We are here to plug you in to the world of professional wrestling. I'm Keeney and I'm joined by Fisher today.
Hello, guys.
Hey, so it's the two of us and this is our WWE pod. I should have said plug you into the world of sports entertainment. Yeah, because I think that could have been the way to go. But yeah, it's the two of us today, two-man pod. We're going to run through the week in WWE, SmackDown, Raw, NXT as usual. But first, we have some breaking, and it is breaking in terms of recording, news. Overdue facts, Fisher, for the breaking news.
Yeah, literally about 10 minutes before we started recording, Logan Paul has officially signed a contract with WWE. Something that maybe nobody saw coming as well. Obviously, he had a match in WWE at WrestleMania this year, but I don't think anyone expected him to have a contract for multiple year, like multiple event. He's not going to be on TV every week, I'm sure, but he's going to have a part-time schedule. But he's signed a proper WWE contract to be a WWE superstar, which is really unexpected. He did impress at WrestleMania. I think obviously they set up. We'll talk about Raw later, but they set up him and Miz potentially teaming again or feuding. We're not sure at SummerSlam. But yeah, it looks like he's actually signing a long-term WWE contract. What do you make of that news?
Surprising, definitely. I think, he was mentioned on Raw, and I thought, okay, he's going to appear again, either with The Miz or against The Miz. There's going to be something down the line. But yeah, was not expecting him to get a full-time contract. I mean, I thought he was good at Mania. I don't think he was Bad Bunny level.
No.
But he's a name.
I think the difference is Logan Paul is really invested in becoming a WWE superstar in a much way. I think his brother does boxing and that, doesn't he? And fight other stuff. And maybe his route is I want to do this. Whereas with Bad Bunny, I think the difference is he's a musician first and foremost, and that is his career, and he's not going to stop doing that, which he would probably have to. If he signed a contract with WWE, he would be able to do music on the side, but it wouldn't be his main thing anymore. So I think that's probably the difference. But yeah, I agree he wasn't as good as Bad Bunny was on his thing, but I think the investment to go and do it, I think fair play to him. I don't want to see him going over like every great WWE wrestler there is. I don't want to see that. But fair play. He's obviously impressed enough to earn the contract, and it was nice to see the Triple H finger point again. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I've missed that. Yeah,
missed that. With obviously Steph and Triple H running the place at the moment, so no Vince there in that picture. But it was cool. It was cool to see, honestly.
I think it's.
I'm intrigued by it, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's the word. Intriguing is the word, because I can't say I'm excited by it. Because there's no real like storylines I'm like desperate to see.
Well, we knew the Miz one was coming anyway because it was set up at Mania. So beyond that, there isn't anything I'm thinking, I can't wait for him to wrestle this guy. I think he's going to be good for people like the Miz. Maybe a Sami Zayn program would work. But then, really, the thing with Logan Paul is he's quite hated. So he's probably going to be better off being a heel in the long term. So actually, he's probably better off going against faces than heels. But in this scenario, certainly with the Miz, they're booking him as a babyface, I'm sure. Which I do think they're going to get. I know the Miz will get to Raw, but T's teaming with him, but I think they are going to go against each other. I think that's going to be the feud.
Yeah, they seem to set up.
Especially, I'm sure I saw a thing on, I don't know if it was real or fake, because it was literally just breaking, but there was a thing saying Logan Paul, and it had like, I'm coming for you, Miz on it or something on his Instagram. And if that's real, then that's suggesting that that's what that was all about. But I wouldn't say it's really exciting news, but it's intriguing news, because we've never had someone from this kind of background ever go into it before. You've had, former sports stars transition from football, or American football that is, or even other sports like basketball, but you don't often get sort of YouTubers become so big and then get this. It's a very weird route, but if it works, it works, and fair play.
Yeah, No,
he'll certainly he'll get some new eyes on WWE product, I'm sure, as well.
And that's why they've done it. It's the name value, isn't it? So let's move into the week of wrestling, of WWE wrestling. Anyway, we had SmackDown last Friday. What was kind of your standout from SmackDown this week?
Well, let's start with the positives because I've got some negatives, but we'll start with the positives.
Yeah.
Nakamura and Sami Zayn going into a qualifier. And these two just don't have bad matches with each other. They've had, obviously, they had a classic in NXT a few years ago, and they've had a couple on SmackDown now that have been really, really good. And this one was also excellent, and it had stakes, being a Money in the Bank qualifier, which made it important.
Yep.
And I'm just glad. I mean, it's a shame for Nakamura in a way, but I'm really glad that Sami Zayn is in the Money in the Bank match.
I agree. Actually, that was my thought of this match. I thought it's a good qualifier. It's two people you could see in the Money in the Bank head to head. It's not an obvious win, or so it was a nice matchup. And I think the story of Sami Zayn with the bloodline, I think
well, I was going to get to it when we talk about the potential Money in the Bank winners that we've got. And I legitimately think there's 4 storylines you can make on the men's side. On the women's side, not so much. On the men's side of Money in the Bank, I think there's 4 people that if they won it, you could get a good story out of it. And they're probably quite obvious who the 4 are. It's Sammy, Riddle, Drew, and Seth Rollins. So any of those 4 win it, I would be happy, because I think you've got the Sammy protecting the bloodline and then potentially sneakily trying to cash in on Roman at some point down the line. I think could be really good. I think Riddle redemption after him not being able to challenge and being barred from SmackDown is a really good storyline. Drew doesn't need it because he's got the Clash Castle thing, but I think him carrying it would work as a build up to that. And then Seth, I don't really need to explain. We've talked about that enough on this podcast in previous weeks. So I was really happy with that. And I thought the match itself, like I say, was really good.
It was.
What I like in Sammy's matches now is he keeps trying to win by count out, because he's done it a couple of times, and he got Nakamura down from 9 on the outside. Nakamura snuck in at the last minute. There was some really good countering on roll-ups here. And he ended up winning with a haluva kick kind of out of nowhere when he got back in the ring. Yeah,
and it's nice to see Sami Zayn. I know it's quite cool for his character to do the count outs and try all that, but I just like to see Sami Zayn wrestle a good match and just win cleanly against a credible opponent. I mean, I can't remember last time that actually happened. It's quite rare.
Not since he really lost the Intercontinental title, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll get to it later, but I think there's actually a 5th story they could tell with Money in the Bank.
Ooh,
we'll get to that later.
But yeah, that was good. One of the best parts of SmackDown for me.
It was, and obviously Money in the Bank is kind of the pay-per-view this weekend, so that was very essential focus on SmackDown. And we had Drew and Sheamus, who were stripped of their Money in the Bank spots at the start of the show. And then fast forward to the end of the show, they had a tag team match with the Usos to get their spot back in the Money in the Bank, which they did. And I feel like they're maybe turning Sheamus' face here. He definitely seemed to be more face than he has been. And I actually think it's a good role for Sheamus at the moment. I actually wouldn't mind
his group,
seeing
though,
him.
being face would be weird.
It would, but I actually think he should just leave Ridge and Butch behind at this point.
They'll be dead in the water if that happens.
They would, but I really
I don't want Butch to be dead. I mean, I don't really care about Ridge Holland. No offense to him. I don't want to see him lose his job or anything, but I'm not a Ridge Holland fan as a wrestler or anything. Pete Dunne, I'm a huge fan. So I would hate to see him get left behind and just sort of never be on SmackDown.
I know. And we always moan about, I'm probably the biggest moaner in terms of repeat matches and we see these people together, but it's like different with Drew and Sheamus. I could just watch them either team up or fight or whatever they do.
Yeah,
they could be in the ring together every week and I would probably not get bored of it. I just love it. And like right now I'm thinking I would love a Drew and Sheamus tag team. I would love it.
It wouldn't be the worst thing, but obviously I don't think Drew needs that in the build up to Clash.
No, this is just an interesting way to get them in Money in the Bank. This is it's a very different route.
There were positive and negatives to this for me. I think the positive one of the things I really liked was Paul Heyman being the guy behind it, sort of.
Yep. Yeah.
Being snide and conniving and going, neither of them won, and persuading Adam Pearce, who felt like he had to do this.
I mean, he actually has a good point. Leaving them,
and
they both don't deserve to go in for not winning a match.
So I was actually like, okay, that makes sense. That's good. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that the Usos then have to be the team that gets beaten. They always lose in the build up to when they defend their titles on pay-per-view. They just get pinned over and over again. And it was obvious that Drew and Sheamus were going to win as well. So it was kind of felt a bit pointless doing it. So there was positive and negatives for me. I like the idea of it, but I wish it wasn't the Usos that had to get pinned. Or if the Usos weren't champions, then I think it'd be fine. But
yeah, you're right. They could have put Garza and Carrillo in that spot and had them lose to.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made much sense with Heyman doing it, but
no, I guess. But then he could always say, "I'm trying. I don't want the Usos."
That's the only negative, because I mean, I don't mind so much when the Usos lose singles matches because they're a tag team. So there's always that excuse of we're better when we're wrestling together. I think you can do that with any tag team. But when they get pinned in a tag team match, it's happened too often. And they're defending their titles on Saturday at the pay-per-view as well. It's not like if they didn't have a feud at the moment, I wouldn't have been so bothered. But the Street Profits, they're facing them on Saturday. So for me, they shouldn't be losing in the build-up. That obviously.
I think you make a good point there. Actually, I think that's a very.
But I don't think it's the worst thing ever. But it's just a little bit of a bugbear of mine.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair shout. And whilst we're on Money in the Bank, let's just quickly mention Shotzi also qualifying.
Yeah,
by beating Tamina.
Now, what happened to Aaliyah here then?
I assume she's injured because it wasn't really Shotzi Aaliyah, wasn't it? I mean, clearly the brand split is gone, as we saw on Raw. Everyone was on Raw, and like
I get that was for the second chance battle. Yeah, I understood that, but this didn't make any sense.
Tamina's been in a 24/7 picture for like 6 months now on Raw, and all of a sudden she's here on SmackDown.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a very minor thing, but it's just they didn't really explain why Tamina was here.
No, it was odd. It was very strange that Tamina was in this match.
But I think their thinking is no one's gonna care.
Like, no one is gonna care.
But I think Shotzi is a cool. And
I'm glad she's in this match.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it last week. I think she actually deserves it because I think she's done really well.
I think she's done really well with the screen time she's had. She's only had like little segments backstage with Aaliyah or the other members of the locker room, and she's always, I think, done well with what she's been given on TV. And then she's had a couple of matches as well that she's done okay in. So yeah, I think she deserves the spot in there. And it's not like SmackDown's women's division is littered with star after star either. So I'm glad she's in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess with if Aaliyah's injured or whatever happened to Aaliyah, then I guess there is no one else she could have faced who hasn't already had a qualifier.
No, that is the problem.
So she had to go with well, actually, saying that, another one who appeared on SmackDown, who I think we didn't realize was on SmackDown, was Sonya Deville.
Yeah.
Again, I thought she was on Raw, and I think
I don't know what happened there. So she came back here, didn't she?
Yeah, I think Adam Pearce actually, or she explained, she's like, I've been on SmackDown for a few weeks and you haven't given me a match. And so she has moved to SmackDown, but then she had a weird handicap match against Raquel and Lacey. Seems a bit of a weird match.
Yeah, you're booking the baby faces as the two and the heel as the one, which is normally a bit backwards. I understand it's Adam Pearce just sort of getting at Sonya, but
Sonya did bring Shayna and Xylee.
Yes,
down
actually, that did make it good. And I thought that they actually seemed cool together as like a little faction. It's something I wouldn't mind seeing going forward. It gives Xylee something to do, which I think they badly need. Shayna Baszler's always just in tags and factions, and I want to see her do more. But right now, if you did do Shayna versus Ronda down the line, one way to make it more believable that Shayna could win is if she had backup against Ronda. That would make, because Shayna's been pinned. At the moment, it doesn't feel like Shayna's believable to beat Ronda, which is a shame because she should be. But if they did something like that and you had Xia and Sonya involved in it, I think that could work as a faction. I know they've obviously, Shayna is still Natalya's tag partner, but they haven't involved her in this feud at all. They did do a little video online of the other day, actually, of Ronda and Shayna Baszler talking and how she's not going to get involved in the feud. I wish they'd shown that on TV.
Yeah, that is a good point, actually. Because I said, that I wanted Sonya and Ronda. And you could have involved Shayna in this Sorry, Shayna and Ronda, not
Yeah.
Sonya and Ronda. I just think you could have involved Shayna in this feud with Natalya.
Oh, absolutely, because she's Ronda's friend and she's Natalya's tag team partner.
Yeah,
and she could be stuck in the middle.
Complete sense for her.
And they showed
involved.
a video. They did do a video online, and it was Shayna and Ronda talking. The arena was empty, but they were in the arena, and they were just like, Shayna was like, "Look, I can't get involved. Natalya's my friend and my tag partner. I know you're my friend." And they did all this stuff, but it wasn't on TV, and it's a shame. I hope they might do it on Friday. Who knows? They might go back and show it, but I think they should have done more of that.
Yeah. Well, then, whilst we're here, we should mention the Ronda and Natalya developments.
Now, Ronda gets criticism, obviously, from us as well, for not being a very good promo. I actually really thought she did quite a good job here. Just being savage lines. And it sounded more real, her saying, "Oh, you're only popular because you get your rack out. And the most irrelevant you've ever been is when you're dressed as me." And I thought, actually, they're good lines. They're good points.
Yeah.
So I thought she had a bit more fire about her here. I thought the Natalya stuff was a bit ridiculous, dressing up with the...
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those tropes WWE go back to a lot, where you just see someone come out. I think we saw it with KO and Stone Cold in the build-up to Mania.
Yeah.
This does happen.
That was good, though.
That was good. And I actually didn't mind it when Natalya... Like, perfect, look, actually...
I didn't mind it too much.
But... I didn't mind it. And I liked the whole thing of the stroller as well. It was quite a funny thing with, obviously, talk about being a mum a lot. So I did enjoy it. But yeah, Ronda just went seriously savage.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed Ronda here.
Really went for it.
More than I normally do on the mic.
Can't remember what else she said. Oh, I forgot now. But yeah,
they're the only two lines I wrote down. But yeah, they ended up getting physical, and then Natalya retreated and left.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is a fine, feud to keep Ronda going till SummerSlam, I guess, or to keep her going for Money in the Bank, and then we can build up to whoever for SummerSlam. But yeah, I think it was fine for what it was. It did progress the storyline, I think, between these two, because there's not been much of one yet.
No. One thing as well. Oh, sorry,
go on.
I was going to move on to a new thing.
Yeah.
We've been the last couple of weeks. We've mentioned that the Viking Raiders vignettes have been very pointless, but here we got a repackaged Viking Raiders. So
yes,
that was cool.
It was cool, actually. I thought they looked pretty cool here.
New Day versus Jinder and Shanky was advertised, and I was like, why are we doing this match again? We did it last week. It's a waste of time. We know what's going to happen. And then what I loved is the New Day even said, no one wants to see this match again. I was like, Xavier Woods knows this, doesn't he? He does know. They do a little dance off, which was fine. They got Shanky to dance. Jinder was getting annoyed, the usual stuff. But then the Viking Raiders music hits, and they come out.
Like how it was the chimes, wasn't it? It was like the dum.
Yeah. It was just the first bit of that music, and then as they were looking down the ramp, they attacked them, and they just looked awesome with the beatdown. And they did a little promo later on as well. I just thought they looked way better than they have done.
Yeah, they again, they're hard one to repackage because they're so ingrained in this Viking character. There's only so many different ways you can present a Viking, I guess. So it's difficult to repackage them fully. Like, they can't come back as like the Funkadactyls. I mean, they're going to be some kind of Vikings.
I don't think they've been that charismatic as baby faces as well. So I think them being heels is...
Yeah, no, I think it does look better. Their kind of face run when they were doing weird stuff with the Street Profits, and remember they were doing like eating chicken legs.
I just don't think they're particularly they're not like Otis was, where he's quite funny. They're not really like that. So them being vicious heels, I don't mind that.
Although again, I'm sure we've seen it, but the Viking Raiders v the New Day, is this the feud that we? Is this an exciting feud? Like, just
I don't know if we have seen it before.
I think they'll have good matches.
We might have done, but I mean, there might have been babyface versus babyface, but I don't think we've seen a proper feud between them.
Yeah, maybe.
My only question was a bit like, well, there's so many heels on SmackDown. Why do we need more heels? Because I feel like there's a real shortage of good baby faces on SmackDown.
I think they just need something for the New Day to do at all times. The New Day are always involved in a feud. If it's not for the tag belts, they had that thing with Sheamus.
I'd like to see them have more singles feuds and do more stuff. Like, you could easily do Xavier Woods versus Gunther, for example. at some point, or Kofi Kingston versus Gunther. You know, they don't all. The problem is they at the moment, because they're a tag team again, they seem to just pigeonhole them into tag team feuds, and then because they only have like one tag team feud at a time, they just like the Sheamus feud. They just did the same match, just did it over and over and over again because they didn't want to move them on from each other.
Oh, and the same with Usos.
And I feel like we'll get the same with the Viking Raiders now. I like the feud now. I like the idea of it, but 10 matches later, I'm probably going to be bored of it.
Yeah, it's just one of those. I liked the Viking Raiders' return. I just don't know if I'd have had them against the New Day as their returning feud. I mean, I'm sure I would predict they're going to win the feud because if they lose for the New Day straight away, then it's almost they're back to square one again.
But they'll probably have multiple matches, won't they? It'll spread out.
Who else is there on SmackDown for them to feud against? You're very, Shanky.
Unless you turn Jinder and Shanky face, and Losafario's face.
They kind of are. I mean, Shanky's a face.
Yeah, he feels like one. Yeah, I mean, you just mentioned turning Sheamus in that face. You could have them feud with them.
Yeah, even if you had Sheamus and Butch and Ridge's faces, and you just had to be honest, like Sheamus and Butch
versus the Viking Raiders would be a good. You get some good matches there.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind that down the line.
Yeah, but nice to see them back and actually repackaged, not just back as their normal selves. So that was something at least. We mentioned Gunther briefly there. He defended his IC belt against Ricochet.
Yeah, rematch.
Not much on this one, just a standard.
No, Gunther I just love watching Gunther wrestle anyway, and Ricochet's selling is really good.
Yeah, he's a very good first proper feud.
Just a clean, dominant win, and I feel like we should just get more and more of that with Gunther. He doesn't need. What I like about it is they have Ludwig Kaiser there, but they don't use him as like a. He literally just introduces him. He doesn't cheat and get involved in the matches really. I think he might have done once maybe, but like he hasn't really. He knows he doesn't need to. It's the difference between like where I know Krusty talks about this quite a lot with Roman and the Usos. Roman doesn't need the Usos getting involved, yet they do. Whereas Ludwig Kaiser just kind of stands on the outside. He introduces him at the start. I like that because Gunther's just becoming dominant without him. I'd like to see him wrestle a bit more because I think he's great, Ludwig. But you can do some, like I say, if they did a feud with a New Day at some point, you could do some tag matches there and maybe do an IC title feud on the side of that. But I really like the presentation of Gunther, something they've got really right so far, and long may it continue, hopefully.
They have been interesting to see because I'm obviously there's no way Ricochet can come back and say he has another match. So it's just interesting to see who they move him on to next, Gunther, because they can't afford to not have him on TV because the roster just isn't big enough to not have him on TV. I mean, the obvious one is probably Shinsuke. We saw that when we went to WWE Live. That's probably the obvious next opponent for him to beat.
That's a very good shout.
But I'm actually with you.
Like I said a minute ago, the baby faces are very thin. You've got if you're doing a New Day with the Viking Raiders, you've got Drew, but you're not going to do Drew and Gunther. That would be crazy to do that now. Do that down the line, absolutely, but not right now.
You got Madcap Moss, maybe.
Madcap Moss is a good shout. He is a good shout because he's not doing anything here. He randomly appeared backstage, didn't he? On this show. He's not really. Now he's finished with Corbin. He's not really doing much, so he could be a good opponent. Could be.
We got Corbin and McAfee announced for SummerSlam as well, which I think we kind of expected to happen.
Yeah.
Is there anything else from SmackDown?
There was, and I'm afraid to end SmackDown on a negative, but I'm going to have to do my skid mark.
Oh yeah, go on, have a skid.
So last week on the pod, those of you who listened to it, I said if they move Max Dupree again, the male models, I'm giving it an automatic skid mark. So I have to stick by my word. And there was nothing this week that offended me more than bumping Max Dupree again.
I know.
So it's just week after week, it's the same thing. They better do it this week because I'm losing it. I can't believe I'm losing interest in LA Knight. I never thought I'd see the day because the LA Knight is superb. And even in these promos, by the way, he's great.
Yeah, I know.
Titillate the juices of your guilty pleasures. Whatever he's saying, he's delivering the lines amazing. And
he is brilliant. The only thing I will say though, I said about who I think it's going to be, and I guessed Pretty Deadly. But then they appeared on NXT this week.
I think we're just getting Mason Mansour, who he's been working with on Dark. Dark match is not on Dark. That's an AW thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're just going to get that, unfortunately.
Well, who knows? Maybe
I did see some suggestions online before last weekend that maybe if we got someone big, because as well there was like one thing. It was like, oh, he's gone to Europe to find some talent, and a lot of people said that could be the return of Cesaro because he's from Europe.
Yeah,
and then obviously Claudio, because him in that could be quite cool, being a new gimmick for him. But obviously he's now back in AW. So
well, I know you said it, but I'd actually wouldn't mind a repackaged Mace. Because
I'm okay with that, but
we haven't seen him.
I just feel like after
properly,
4 or 5 weeks of hype, for it to be Mace is very flat. That's why if it was someone new or someone from NXT that you've called up and it'd be like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was Giovanni Vinci, for example.
Yeah.
Like you didn't bring him back on NXT. You'd aired the vignettes maybe on NXT, and then you just introduced him on SmackDown because he's got that gimmick of being like a model. Yeah. That would be amazing. Or you brought back someone from the past, like Tyler Breeze had a kind of gimmick like that in the past. You could just bring him in. Do you know what I mean? Someone like that.
Well, what about Ginny, the fashionista for NXT UK?
Although it's maximum male models, but
oh yeah, that's a key point there. Yeah, so it's male models. So I was also thinking in Tiffany Stratton as well, but yeah, that wouldn't work.
Yeah. I'm sure there are people that would be cool, but I've just got a feeling it's going to be Mason Mansour, and I'm just not particularly interested in that.
Well, who knows? We'll hopefully see.
He can make it work, anything work though, so we'll see.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we see him wrestle as well because he is very good.
Yeah,
but yeah, as long as he's on the show,
and just in a proper feud where you can cut promos on other guys rather than just talking to Pierce backstage.
Yep, fair enough. Should we move on to Monday Night Raw?
Yeah, or as I've seen it called this week, the Forbidden Raw, because there was a bit of Forbidden Door action on there, wasn't there?
There was, yeah. Obviously, all centered around the whole show was a John Cena show, essentially. Yeah. His 20-year anniversary celebration, and we did get a little bit back. So let's take this kind of in steps, but he obviously is all backstage. Everyone's welcoming him, even the heels. I saw Dolph Ziggler give him a big cuddle, and it was a bit.
Yeah, I don't like him. The only thing I liked him was Becky Lynch's bit.
Oh yeah, she
was completely not having it, and I loved that she stayed in character.
Do. And you got a couple.
I didn't mind Dolph so much because I know he's known Cena.
Yeah, you just don't need to show.
But it's people like TV. Shayna Baszler. Who else was there? There was some others as well. Even the Miz. Was like,
yeah, the Miz was a weird one.
Come on, guys.
We got Seth come up to him at some point as well, which was a good. But obviously, the one we all expected was Theory. We did get Theory confront him, which I liked. And I thought the point of him coming back on this show was to start a Theory feud.
Well, yeah, I was a bit disappointed nothing was set up.
They did have that face to face, but
there was
Cena said nothing. Could just walk away.
Yeah, it was 20 years of Cena celebration, and his promo was good when he was in the ring. Everyone was into it, but they didn't set anything up, and I was a bit baffled by that. I know he said he doesn't know when his next match is, but I thought, yeah, you're just saying that, John.
Yeah.
Later on, you're gonna, because especially when they did Lashley versus Gable Otis, and then Theory as enforcer, the fans were chanting Cena's name. I was like, Cena's going to come in and help Lashley, right? Surely, and he didn't. He just watched, and Lashley beat them all up on his own anyway, so he didn't need his help. Maybe that's why they did it. They didn't want to make Lashley look like he needed Cena's help. But
yeah, although there's questions.
It was 3-on-1. It was 3-on-1. You could have had Lashley struggling a little bit, and then Cena come in and just like confront Lashley and let Theory run off. Confront Theory, and then Theory just leg it.
But what I did like is how Theory did confront him. Theory went up to him backstage and was in his face, and I said it before. I just think Theory looks the part. He just everything he does just feels. He doesn't feel out of place with John Cena. And that's a mad thing to say for someone who's so young and still quite green on the main roster. That I think he looked like he belonged with John Cena on the screen, which not everyone does. So yeah, I thought that was decent.
What I loved as well with the Rollins bit. We know ages ago when we got that Rollins-Roman feud and he did the shield knock as he went in to give away that it was him. He did the Cena, his laugh, but he did it in Cena's theme music.
Yeah.
It's just little details there that are brilliant.
Oh,
but yeah,
Rollins
the use of Cena was good. Like he did a bit with Street Profits as well earlier on in the show. Like the use of him was good in the show. But I confused why they didn't set anything up. The promo itself.
I mean, even his promo didn't really achieve anything.
No, it was just there to. It felt like it was there to pop a rating and just for Cena to have his moment with the fans. I like the bit as well. He had a segment with Ezekiel, didn't he, at one point?
Oh yeah, we didn't get much of Ezekiel Elias or Elrod. That was on
we were meant to get Kevin Owens versus Ezekiel as a Money in the Bank qualifier, which was rescheduled. Owens wasn't on Raw. I believe there was a minor injury or something like that, which was why. But I'm not sure. Maybe we'll get that on SmackDown because there's still a spot left for Money in the Bank.
There is still a spot left.
But yeah, what was interesting with the Cena stuff, really, the main talking point was the fact that we got AEW people sending in messages. I didn't expect to see Daniel Bryan pop up.
Chris Jericho
as Daniel Bryan, not Bryan Danielson. And then Chris Jericho looking like he was backstage at Forbidden Door. By the way,
he probably was.
That's what it looked like it was. And then the Big Show as well, who's not. To be fair, I don't think of him as an AEW guy.
Yeah, I mean, unless you watch Dark Elevation, you're not going to know he's on the show because he commentates on there, doesn't he? Or he did anyway. He
doesn't do much with AEW really.
No, he is. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. As I say, it was a nice little surprise.
It was nice. It was nice of obviously Tony Khan to allow that. It was good of WWE to try and get AEW guys and not be afraid to put them on TV as well. Because essentially now, when you see Chris Jericho and you see Daniel Bryan, you think of AEW. You don't think of, especially Chris Jericho.
Well, Jericho has appeared on WWE TV fairly recently with the Stone Cold thing. Yeah, and he mentioned AEW on there. So they're obviously still good terms with Jericho. Yeah. Clearly still good terms with
Brian, he knew that there's always going to be respect there. Plus, obviously, the relationship
he left on good terms.
And the relationship with the Bellas as well. And stuff. So, there's obviously a lot of... and the Big Show, I don't think has, he worked there for God knows how many years. So, it was people you'd expect. It would have been crazy if you'd have seen more like of a John Moxley or imagine CM Punk popping up. Unbelievable. It's never going to happen, but people like that but you wouldn't expect to see. But it was cool. I just thought it was a cool thing.
It was, and we got another weird, not that weird, but Vince McMahon came out again and introduced
I
Cena.
forgot he even did that actually.
He introduced him, and literally, but again, I don't really know why he's doing it, but he did. But what was interesting is he scampered off very quickly when John Cena came down. Like, it's a bit weird, like how quickly he left. You thought he might give Cena a hug and then walk off, but as soon as Cena's music hit, he was off. He was gone. Vince. I don't know if you can read into that at all, but yeah, just again another weird Vince McMahon appearance, which is becoming a weekly occurrence at the moment on WWE TV.
Yeah.
There's not much more than that. Should we get into Money in the Bank again? Because we got another qualifier.
Like big battle royal.
We actually got two qualifiers, but one to open, one to end the show. We had a battle royal to open the show.
I like this battle royal. I thought it was pretty good.
20-man battle royal with some decent names in there.
I was going to say it wasn't like jobbers necessarily. I don't think they had many jobbers left, really.
You did have your T-bars and
he went well far, by the way. T-bar. Yeah, he was like the last six,
right towards the end. Yeah,
I think he was in the last six because I writ the names down. Oh no, he was last seven. Because I've written the last six down and he was eliminated just before. Yeah. So, you had obviously Riddle who won it. You had AJ Styles in there. You had Nakamura in there. You had Ricochet, who's just been Intercontinental Champion. You had
The Miz.
Dolph Ziggler, The Miz.
Veer Mahan.
Veer was in there. The Mysterios. They got it. In fact, the Mysterios, Nakamura and Riddle were the only guys to get entrances, which was interesting. I love how... I thought it was odd that there was no Judgment Day in there, by the way. Because they did appear later on the show, but they were like, no, they're not in there.
That was interesting.
I thought that was strange that Balor and Priest weren't in there.
But they're just not pushing them too hard without Ripley. I think they want the whole group together. I think
they see Ripley as the leader almost of this group.
Well, the fact that she was the one who was pushed towards the title, and her not being there has forced them to not be on TV. Well, I know they were on, but they've had like 30 seconds of screen time in 2 weeks.
They've got a match next week confirmed, but
The match that was on the
main event has been
event week before.
So
yeah, but I guess.
But yeah, this battle royal was pretty decent. Early on, I think Tozawa was first out. Shelton Benjamin was out early. And Mustafa Ali was in this as well. Mentioned to him. Ciampa as well was in it.
Yeah, but this was where we got Raw and SmackDown guys. It's just anyone.
Which makes, for a last chance battle royal, I think that makes sense. You couldn't really do a battle royal and just put more guys in it anyway because it'd only be like 10 people. It's not really worth.
Yeah, no, you're probably right, and I think also we got the right guy winning. I think Riddle.
Yeah, I think Riddle. I thought it was going to be between Riddle and Style. I thought it was going to be Riddle or AJ, and they were the last two. So.
Yeah, I just think Riddle has.
Oh no, actually, they weren't the last two, were they? Miz was technically last two.
Yeah, the Miz did his classic.
Yeah, you knew he was doing it because he's injured on the outside.
Yeah, you get this spot in every battle royal or Royal Rumble. It always happens. This spot, it's a bit overdone, but it was.
They set up a match later on in the show between Miz and AJ.
Yeah, it had a purpose.
It was okay. Yeah, I thought it was a good battle royal. The standard of the wrestling in it was good.
It was.
The guys in it were good. There was a lot of actual wrestling in it. There was a cool spot where T-Bar tried to get Ricochet out. He landed on the ladder. Ricochet then jumped back in and did a Hurricane Rana to eliminate T-Bar. Cool, yeah. And that was where we got the last six, which was Ricochet, Riddle, AJ, The Miz, Nakamura, and Dolph Ziggler. Dolph got a good showing. He hasn't been on TV much until recently, so that was good.
Yeah, good for him. We also, there was an elimination that I think was meant to be a spot when Ray got pushed off the apron.
Oh yeah, it looks like
he jumped towards the tried to grab onto the thingy, and he obviously couldn't.
If that's the second time
we saw Kofi do that.
The exact same type of spot as well. Maybe they just don't try that because it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think
it wasn't as obvious as Kofi's one, but
and also we've seen it before. So to do it again, you lose the wow factor. So I don't think you need.
If you're going to get anyone to do it as well, do Ricochet. I know Ricochet did the ladder thing, but Ricochet feels like the one guy who can pull it off. So. Get him to do it.
Yeah, although Kofi's been doing it.
Oh, Kofi's done loads of good stuff, but yeah, Ricochet's like extra, isn't he? He's crazy.
He is mad. And before we move on to the women's side of Money in the Bank, I do want to just mention because I said there may be a fifth storyline.
Oh yeah, you did
for Money in the Bank, and I'm talking about Cody Rhodes. I'm not ruling him out.
I watched a Money in the Bank predictions video earlier actually, and then someone mentioned what are the odds of Cody doing a Lesnar. Where Ali was looking at the thing and then his music.
Oh, there is
not going to happen.
One spot left still. We don't know what's happening on SmackDown yet, so let's wait till SmackDown happens. But if they go into Money in the Bank with mystery seventh person, that's Cody Rhodes. And
I don't think it will be, even if it is the mystery person. He can't. He's just after having that surgery. I know he did that match with the injury, but after having a surgery. I don't think he can even reach up the ladder and reach the belt. I don't think he should even be reaching up. Honestly, I think it would be so dangerous. Yeah. All he's got to do is slip on that ladder.
But what they could do, there is a and just humor me here. There is a possibility Cody somehow wins the match. I don't know how, but Cody wins it, and then he can go off injured with his Money in the Bank contract for 6 months
and come back,
and come back and cash in.
We don't know where he's going to be, and then he can come in and cash in.
Yeah,
that would be a cool story.
That would be credible because he again to cut a promo here was a bit random. I quite like.
It was interesting.
We're not just forgetting about him.
Yeah, they want you to know. They want you to know, don't they?
And they're keeping him very, very fresh in mind. And he also again mentioned about I'd be the first to be there for Seth if he won.
Well, this is what I found interesting because he was like, He didn't say I want Seth to win, but he said if Seth wins, I'm going to be the first to congratulate him, which to me. Suggests Rollins is going to win the match, right?
I think Rollins is the most likely.
I think Rollins is going to win a match. We're going to get next Monday on Raw. We'll get Cody cut another video interview promo from home, saying, I hope you're champion because when I come back, I'll be coming for you. And then he can win the belt down the line. Cody can come back at the Rumble, win the Rumble, and set up that match again for the title, like we. Suggested, and that would be a good way to keep Cody on TV. And
all I'm saying is I just think there is a possibility that Cody Rhodes
I don't think I think we'll get the seventh person confirmed on SmackDown anyway, but if we don't, then I can see it. The only person I can maybe see it being is someone like Cena because he's there, or like Logan Paul or something.
I feel like if Cena was to do it, he'd probably win the Money in the Bank, and I just don't want that. or Brock will have the opening match.
Well, I was going to say Brock, but then I remembered he's already got the match set up at SummerSlam, so that would be even worse.
They just throw Brock, give Brock anything, don't they? So.
To be fair, they already had the match pretty much set up for Mania, and then he still won the Rumble, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. We didn't need to win a Rumble.
And he's done it before when he's not been in the match as well, in the Money in the Bank. So you can never rule out Brock Lesnar winning it, even if he's not in the match.
Definitely. So onto the women's side, and we had a match I quite like. We don't see many of these. A 6-person, 6-woman eliminator match where all 6 of them there, but pinfall submission, and you're eliminated. The 6, losers, I guess. I don't know. Doudrop, Nikki, Tamina, Xylee, Shayna Baszler, and Becky Lynch. And it's no surprise that Becky Lynch won of it now.
No, I mean,
obvious.
So obvious, really.
Especially with the other 5.
That was my only main thing about this match, was it was quite obvious Becky was winning. I
thought the match was really good. I thought Doudrop got a really good show in here. She tends to get a good show in Doudrop. I think they do see something in her. I thought she looked really good. But yeah, Becky
did get
Lynch,
2 eliminations, didn't she? She did a big elbow drop on Tamina, who
she eliminated Shayna and Tamina.
And Shayna, who's the other sort of big person in there. Becky eliminated Xylee, got eliminated very early.
Yeah, she eliminated Xylee and Nikki. Becky eliminated both of those.
Then Nikki got took out, and then obviously Becky beat Doudrop with a good look.
Manhandle slam
avalanche, style. So that was good. It was only given like 12 minutes or something. This, which I think for an 6-person elimination match needs to be a little bit longer. That was my only another criticism of this match was if you're doing eliminations, you're gonna have to eliminate people fast. And Xylee lasted like a minute, and I felt a bit bad for her.
Xylee. Not, unfortunately, she's just not thought highly enough of. To worry about her being protected, but I think the story of Becky Lynch is good. And again, I think I wonder if they're thinking of turning her face. I think they would have to be considering it, because she got a fairly decent reaction, and I just think I think she'll win Money in the Bank. I mean, I haven't predicted yet, but
I put my predictions up. Check them out on Twitter. At each other's wrestling.
Yeah, I will do mine.
I was torn on the. I
think I'm going to wait till Friday.
This is why I kind of wanted. I wanted 2. I was going to suggest we do 2 votes, because you have your first pick and second. Because I wanted Becky in my 2 votes, but I wanted to put someone new that hasn't been a champ before in that. Like a Liv Morgan or someone, or Raquel even. But yeah, I think if I'm picking one pick, it has to be Becky, because she's the biggest star in the match, and the story is already kind of there with her, and the story is definitely there if you had Seth win as well, and you can have them do what kind of Adam Cole and Britt Baker did on the last AEW pay-per-view. Where they had their own belts together. I think you can do that. You could end the show with them both on the ramp with their briefcases. I think that I can see that happening.
Yeah, me too. I think that's the most likely outcome. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, Money in the Bank's one of the most amazing pay-per-views. Just in terms
the thing is, the Money in the Bank matches are always great. So even if the rest of the show is not that good, you're going to get 2 great matches on there, and I think we're going to get at least one more really good match on the show.
You've got Lashley and Fury. It should be good. I'm sure.
There's 6 matches on the card. I think they're all decent matches on paper. It's just how they're booked. The tag team match will probably be really good. So,
of course, Nuisance and Profits. Amazing.
So,
so we had Montez Ford beat Jey Uso on the show.
Yeah, speaking of that,
didn't Dawkins beat Jey Uso last week?
Yes.
Not on SmackDown. It was last week.
I think it was on Raw, yeah.
Yeah. So, but it's been Jey Uso both times, not Jimmy Uso, which is interesting. I don't know if there's a reason for that. But again, does the fact that they keep winning the singles matches mean that the Usos are going to retain?
Well, we saw this a lot with I think it was the New Day feud back end of last year, and I think it happened at the Rumble. Maybe the tag match. And I ended up predicting the New Day as new champs because the Usos just kept losing and losing and losing. I thought maybe they're going to take the belts off the Usos and then they won at the pay-per-view. And I think we're just going to get the same again here with the Profits.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I don't think it's also with the 2 belt thing now. I think it's too soon after they've just unified them from RK Bro to now take the belts off them this quickly. You could do it maybe at SummerSlam, but I don't think it's going to happen here.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I'm just looking through the rest of the show. So we mentioned the Miz and AJ briefly, obviously with the Logan Paul stuff.
Yeah.
They had a match which Miz walked out on.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that particularly.
I mean, it's an interesting feud, but I don't really know what this feud means. There's not really much on this feud, AJ and the Miz. I guess it's something for them to both do.
I think we're wasting time until the Logan Paul thing happens. Maybe we're going to get Miz and AJ we'll have them have another match, and then maybe Logan Paul's going to cost the Miz or help the Miz, whichever way you go.
I mean, maybe depending on how the US title goes, you could move AJ on to Theory next if Theory retains. You could do that.
Maybe.
I'm just trying to think of, because AJ needs to be doing something. He's too good to be doing nothing, and so is the Miz. Realistically, that's just good. I guess I'm glad.
I'm disappointed we didn't get the AJ Finn Balor thing after they just kind of dropped Finn Balor turning heel, ditching AJ. Why did they not do AJ and Finn Balor? AJ should be pissed at Balor. And he did mention him briefly in a promo, but other than that,
he was more pissed by Seth injuring Cody Rhodes this week randomly.
Yeah.
He's moved so far away from.
That's the match I would have done. I would have set that up for Money in the Bank and done AJ versus Balor and Money in the Bank, and then you could do Edge return for SummerSlam and do Balor versus, or even AJ and Edge versus Balor and AJ and Edge teaming's a bit weird, but you could do Edge versus Balor or Edge versus Priest, whichever one you wanted to do.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm surprised they haven't done that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a weird one with Judgment Day. I think is they've just been knocked off course by the injury and have absolutely no idea what to do with them. So they're just not doing anything. I think that's basically
the only other thing we got on Raw was Liv Morgan versus Alexa Bliss.
Yep, Liv beat.
I was surprised that Liv won this actually.
Yeah,
Alexa's kind of been winning quite a lot since she come back.
She has, but Alexa's another one with absolutely no real direction. Like, she's in Money in the Bank. I just don't think
very flat.
I feel like there is no chance she's going to win. I just don't see how she could be Money in the Bank. I think Liv's got a fair chance.
Yeah, probably be my second pick, to be honest.
Yeah, but Alexa Bliss, I just don't see what they're. Again, I don't think they know what they're doing with her.
I saw her like a post about her character being directionless the other day. And I was like, Alexa seems pissed off. Like, she seemed pissed off before she went away. Then
also, what is her current character? She's not happy. She isn't the goddess. She's not the fiend or that side of things. She's somewhere in the middle, and she's just nothing. She is just and one thing Alexa Bliss has always had is really good character. So for her to have like a really vanilla character at the moment is strange. I think. Personally, I think I said it before. I'd move her to SmackDown, get her over there. There's a lot more for her to do over there. You could get her in a
feud with Ronda
on Raw with Asuka, with Becky, with Belair. Liv they're clearly into. Doudrop they like. I just think there's too much noise for Alexa Bliss to have anything meaningful. Whereas SmackDown, I mean, they're struggling. You've got Raquel and Shayna, or as like the top.
I think Charlotte will be coming back soon, but other than that, you haven't got a lot there.
Yeah,
but hopefully Sasha and Naomi. But I think it's gone quiet on the Sasha release stuff. I have no idea what's going on. Yeah, I think Naomi will be back, but that's I have no idea about Sasha. I hope she comes back, but I don't know. It's gone very quiet on it.
Yeah,
and apparently it's still listed on the roster.
That's good,
but who knows?
The other thing I've got from Raw is Belair and Carmella had a little.
There was nothing really to
face off. Nothing on that. Again, this is a very, very, very cold match.
I do like Carmella's new Titantron and look that she went for here.
Yep,
it's quite cool. I think Carmella's presentation looks better. Obviously, when she had the mask thing she was doing, that was crap. When she was with Selena, that was crap.
I actually saw her tweet the other day. You've probably seen it as well, where she mentioned she's like, I've been with a guy with no chin. I've been doing dance for extra matches. I've had a mask. Like anything I do, I make work. I was like, actually, fair play. She actually does most of the time.
Britt Baker replied to that as well, saying with like an applause.
Yeah. So actually,
she obviously likes that.
You can give Carmella a stick, but she does tend to make. I think she's a bit underrated as a performer in general. I think she's fine. I think
You can plug her in and out of programs, like at the top main event or the lower event, and she does okay. Like, she's not world title level wrestler.
She's a former champion.
She's someone you can put as a challenger. She's kind of like what Dolph Ziggler is in the male division, where you can just plug her into like the top program, have a good match, and then you can just take her out and you just sort of throw her in and out of up and down the card, basically. And a bit like what AJ Styles is doing in the men's division as well. He seems to be a bit like that. There's a few examples of it, but yeah, she seems a bit like that at the moment.
Yeah, no, definitely. But yeah,
I think that's it from Raw.
I think that is, yeah. Should we go on to NXT?
Yep.
So this was actually the go home show for the Great American Bash.
Yeah.
Next week's show.
It didn't really feel like a go home show, did it? But
well, we ended with a Ron Breakker and Cameron Grimes in the ring.
I love the Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes catch are really good, and again, I'm sure it was obviously meant to happen, but how he pushed Breakker into the turnbuckle and the turnbuckle just came off. And actually looked like Breaker's arm was actually dislocated. I don't know if it was. Obviously,
I don't think it was. No, I think it worked.
It looked like it. I don't know whether it's because, but it looked like a really brutal.
I think it's because they cut it was the end of the show. They had the doctors come down, and then they just ended the show like.
It's just the way his arm looked. It just looks dislocated. I don't know why. And then I just love Grimes. Like, just so good, just sitting there.
He's a very good promo, and he's much more fired up. So yeah, that's the one match on the card. I'm like, I
also love how he was like, this match doesn't mean much to you because if you lose, you'll just be on Raw SmackDown next week. Sort of thing. Like, he's probably right. Like, yeah, I think Grimes is absolutely amazing, and this is like the best Bron Breakker title feud I think we've had personally. Like, Ciampa Ziggler was pretty good. Obviously, Joe Gacy.
The Ziggler one was good.
Wasn't great.
The Ciampa one was like face and face, kind of respected.
But here,
the Gacy one was rubbish.
I would genuinely quite like Cameron Grimes to win the title. I would like it. I don't think he will, but I would like him to.
Yeah, same. I wouldn't mind. I think him having a run with that would be awesome. I don't think it's going to happen, but
if not, let's move this Cameron Grimes to the main roster, because old Cameron Grimes, I think, would have been in 24/7 title picture. This Cameron Grimes might be a different story. He seems quite serious and
quite possibly.
Yeah, really like it. So we actually mentioned last week about Roxanne Perez's winning the singles tournament and then cashing it in for a tag team. But they kind of clarified that on this show, and she isn't actually cashing it in.
No.
For a tag team. So that's why they had this number one contender match. I think we criticized this last week.
We did. Yeah, they did clear that up.
I think we should backtrack and say, fair enough, we were wrong. We thought they were doing something which we didn't agree with. Actually, that wasn't what they were doing at all. Maybe we jumped to conclusions, or maybe they backtracked over what they said last week.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we had a number one contenders match, and they beat Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, Roxanne and Cora Jade.
Yeah,
that is. To get a tag team title match next week. I'm sure it's next week, isn't it? The Great American Bash?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, do you reckon they can win?
They can, but I think it makes more sense for them to lose and then Roxy take on Mandy, because she's still got that. There's not really much point in her winning the tag titles. If she's still got that contract.
Yeah, I guess
she'd have cashed it in, maybe. But if she hasn't, then...
Yeah, I just guess we don't know how long the contract lasts for. Like, Money in the Bank, we know lasts a year. It's not quite Money in the Bank. We know that, but I don't think she could just cash it in at any point and then just defend.
No.
Like, she has to cash it in advance. But I don't think we know how long it lasts for. So
that's why I don't think they're winning the titles next week. I think they won't win the titles.
You probably get Mandy stopped and winning and then set up that match.
The only other thing is sort of segueing onto another match, but you kind of got Mandy set up another feud during this as well. So the Roxanne thing might be delayed purely because we got Nikita Lyons return, and then her and Mandy have a very short match, which was then Toxic then caused the DQ. So I think we're going to get that again.
Yeah, well, wasn't that basically a champion contenders match where if Nikita won, she got a match for the title. So I think, again, I don't know if that.
Because I thought Nikita was someone that could potentially beat Mandy as well.
Well, I think Nikita was a shout to win that breakout tournament before she got injured.
Then she got injured. Yeah,
so
that might be why they've done it. Maybe they're thinking she was going to win the tournament. Let's give her a title match anyway, because obviously she couldn't win the tournament in the end.
Yeah,
whether she's going to win or not, I don't know. But
it does just seem like surely Mandy's going to retain, because the story between Mandy and Roxanne doesn't really make sense for Nikita to win the belt in the middle of all that.
I think it's too soon for Nikita anyway. I think she's got a lot of potential, but she's literally just returned from injury and she's only had like a few matches. I think they'd be smart to let that wait. To be honest.
No, you're right. Did you know that Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs won the NXT UK Tag Team Championship?
I did know.
I did as well. I watched NXT UK last week.
I haven't watched that episode yet, but I did know because I saw.
And I was amazed.
I was
amazed they won. By the way, I was like, I watched NXT UK match, and it was like a fatal 4-way match.
Yeah, because it was the champs had vacated, right?
So Oliver Carter Smith,
through injury.
Yeah, and so they had a fatal 4-way match with 3 UK teams, and then just Briggs.
Why were they even in the match?
Well, so they've done the thing where they've had a couple of UK NXT guys on UK for a while, and they were one of them that'd been there for a couple of weeks. And I think
it's really weird.
I think they were meant to have a match against Smith and Carter. That's maybe why. So they were meant to face the champions, and then belts got. So they did, but they won, which I was amazed by. I'm interested to see what that actually does for NXT UK going forwards. Because Briggs and Jensen aren't going to keep flying back and forth, are they, to defend the belt?
No, they record quite a lot of episodes in one go, don't they, for NXT UK?
Yeah.
So they've probably done a section of episodes where I'm assuming they're not going to have a long title run. So they've probably already lost the titles.
It must be hard though to sync it all up.
Yeah.
Because I wonder how long ago they actually won the titles to this week's show. Like they may have won the titles a month
I think
ago,
it was a while back. I reckon it was a while back because I know that obviously this is going off the subject, it's just an NXT UK chat now, but like the split of Mustache Mountain happened a while back and has only just been.
It was like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I remember seeing some stuff about that like 2 months ago.
Yeah. That's the thing.
That's why I don't watch NXT UK every week, because I know what's going to happen in advance. And then I also forget it's on, go on Twitter because it's on at UK time at like 8 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah, so
see loads of spoilers.
The pod, finish the pod, go on Twitter. NXT UK stuff,
so that's why I don't watch it every week, because if I know there's going to be a really good match, I'll watch it. I try and keep up with it every now and then, but it's hard to watch it every week when you see so much spoilers for it.
There's definitely. I mean, NXT UK, a lot of it isn't that. It's not must-see TV, but usually their main event matches are good. I will say
really
that.
Good.
Quite consistently, week on week, their main event matches are really good wrestling matches. So it's
definitely a good show.
It's anyone who hasn't.
It's just keeping up, and plus time constraints of all the other wrestling is it's an effort. But yeah, it's interesting to see.
It's only an hour.
What they're going to do with this on why have they put it on NXT TV, the UK tag titles? It's very interesting.
Yeah, but I guess the point of this show is we got Pretty Deadly interrupt them, which makes sense. They're former NXT UK champions, and that's going to be a new feud on NXT. Like I said before, I thought Pretty Deadly might move up. I thought it might have been a very short stop in NXT for them, but apparently they are, because we haven't seen them since they lost their tag team belts. So
no.
Yeah, I mean,
what would be weird is if they won the UK tag titles and then went back to NXT UK like nothing ever happened.
Yeah,
that would be really weird. So I hope that doesn't happen.
I think they're one of the better NXT teams. So I don't think they should be moving back down. But,
no.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned him a bit ago. Giovanni Vinci beat Ike Minjiro.
It's a quick match.
Not much on this. We know how good
Giro's just a jobber now.
We know how good Ike is as a wrestler.
Giro's just like he's one of those guys. He'd probably end up getting released. The poor guy. As soon as Kushida left him, that was it. He was done for.
I mean, Kushida and as soon as Ike and Jiro and Kushida were put together, I just thought this isn't going to work.
And the one that was pushed more and more thought of was Kushida, and he left. So it was never going to be Jiro is never going to do anything after that. They haven't got a cruiserweight belt for him to go for or anything either. So there's not really anything for him, unfortunately, which was a shame because I think he's all right. But what did you make of? So Two Dimes obviously got fired for.
Oh Jesus! What about this?
for failing a drugs test or whatever it was.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yep.
Performance enhanced drugs test, whatever. But what did you make of them? Basically, and I thought they might do this because it's Tony D and it fits his character. They basically killed him off on this show by throwing him in the river and saying he's sleeping with fishes now.
Madness, yeah. I just almost couldn't believe. I was like, "What? He's dead? Are you trying to tell me you've killed 2 times? Is that what they're going with?" I mean, I don't know how else you write him off. It's a hard one to do because you've already pre-recorded stuff with him involved, so you couldn't undo what he'd pre-recorded. So you had to kind of show what he'd pre-recorded after he got released.
Yeah,
so it was a bit awkward. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. But
I thought they might have a beatdown angle where, like, I don't know.
Well, like I said, you could just beat up anyone.
But they didn't want him there, did they? They obviously didn't want to have him on anything else afterwards. So they had to kind of come up with something where he wasn't there. So the easiest thing to do was pretend he was dead. And it does fit Tony's character that he would, if someone crossed him, he would do that. So, and then obviously he got a phone call from Santos Escobar and he kind of threw his brass knuckles and his phone in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of a bit confused as to what the storyline, what happens now. I think the fact that 2 Dimes has left has made it a bit more confusing because it's now 3-on-2 in favor of the faces of, I guess, their faces, Legado, in this storyline. They feel a bit more faced than Tony D. But it's just a weird, I don't know what the resolution is. I thought we had the resolution when they got together as a team to then break back up again.
The thing is, it was never gonna last long term as a fact.
Yeah, but
too many people in
I thought maybe we'd get Joaquin Wilde and Mendoza to turn on Escobar or something like that. I thought there'd be something in there, but we're just back to square one again. It just seems like a storyline that's, flip-flopping and not really, with a little fish reference there. We also got the Dyad in a match again with Joe Gacy. And I mean,
a 6-man tag,
yeah. I might say this now. You said last week about the LA Knight on the main roster, not announcing his male models.
Yeah.
If they don't reveal these Dyads guys soon, I'm going to start getting skiddy on this because I just want to know who they are.
I want to know who they are as well. Only because they started they didn't give any hints at all at the start. Then last week he actually gave hints to who they were.
Yeah,
started talking about their past in NXT, and then for them to just not play up on that this week was a bit annoying. I have no idea who they are, and I honestly
don't know how they're wrestling matches in that gear. That can't be like comfortable. It's got to be horrible. Like I just can't believe they're wrestling matches in that gear. It's impressive.
I know it is impressive. To be honest, the interesting thing to come out of this match was that, again, the tension between Diamond Mine, and we're getting a tag title match next week between
I think it's
2 halves of Diamond Mine.
It is
the
really
Creeds versus Strong and Damon Kemp. Now, I don't think Strong and Kemp are winning at all, but I think this might be the split where the split officially happens. Maybe.
Yeah, it definitely should be. And I think
Ivy Nile might be caught in the middle with it. I think she's more likely to side the Creeds.
Yeah, she has been on their side so far.
Yeah. So, and then maybe you might even get Kemp's side and then Strong just get kicked out of the group. And who knows, maybe they'll go on him his release, which he wants. But
yeah, because Kemp is the one that's not really picked a side yet, is he?
He's the new member, isn't he? He's just trying to go about his business, I guess.
Yeah. We also got Grayson Waller and Carmelo Hayes have a title match. Is that next week as well?
Yeah, so he tricked him, didn't he?
Yeah.
Grayson Waller. I don't know why Melee fell for this.
Yeah, and this is kind of a weird, because they're both quite clearly heels, these two.
Yeah, and I think that was the point of it, because he was like, he's the right him. Like they were like playing up that they were kind of friends, but then it's an odd one. I don't really get it.
It'll be a good match, though. We know
it will be a good match.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure about that. Yeah. I mean, Mello's great. Grayson Waller's proven himself, I think, to be pretty good as well. So, yeah, the match will be good. It's just a bit random the way it came about. There wasn't a lot else from there, but there was a Lash Legend bit which confused me.
Oh, yeah.
Where she spoke about Alba Fire and she said she's put her permanently on the shelf. Now, I haven't heard anything about Alba Fire being injured, or if this was, and that was why they did the angle last week. But I hope there's not anything going on there with Alba Fire because she's great.
Yeah, she's probably the best NXT female superstar.
Yeah, I mean, other than Toxic Attraction, there isn't that many other people that I like Cora and Roxanne as well, maybe.
Well, who knows where Io Shirai is?
But,
as well.
She's apparently due back soon. Her and Zoe Stark both due back.
Io Shirai is a big one. She's the best, but by far. But,
I read something the other day about her and Zoe Stark both being like cleared now, pretty much to come back. So whether they'll come back together as a team or they'll come back separately, I don't know. But
yeah,
I forgot about Zoe Stark, to be honest with you.
So did I. I forgot her name. I
forgot about her completely. But yeah.
Yeah. We had a couple of doses of Zion Quinn on this show.
Yeah.
He lost to Sanga. The match Sanga looked quite good, I thought.
I think Sanga looks really good when he wrestles now.
Yeah.
At first, when he was kind of going around with Grayson Waller, and I was like, "Who is this guy? Like, what's the point of him?" And then he kind of they separated him very quickly, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's going to onto nothing." But actually, he's quite good.
Yeah, that feels like a weird pairing now. I mean, it was a bit weird at the start. He's just a big guy, but he was a kind of rubbish bodyguard. Never really looked that good alongside Grayson Waller. And then since they split, they've not really interacted since either. There's something like that. Actually, did they have a match after?
I think they did.
Maybe one, but it just seems to be kind of moved on and forgotten about.
Yeah, they dropped it very quick. But Sanga, I think, has done better since. Like, he's looked right.
Yeah, he has. But then Zion Quinn had a little altercation with Apollo Crews backstage.
Yes.
And they are being very patient with his Apollo Crews return to NXT. He's not done a lot so far.
No, it came in like hot and everyone was excited, and now it's kind of simmered down a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but at the same time, do you want him going maybe straight into the title match losing? Do you know what I mean? And maybe it is better to build him. So I don't know.
Yeah, but they haven't done much building yet.
It's interesting. I read some stuff today about Zion Quinn potentially catching the eye of the main roster already.
Maximum male model.
He would actually be a great shout for that.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout, is he?
If you notice as well, he's also got that sort of same tribal tattoo as Roman. He's got that very bit. He's got that look. He's got the size. He's got charisma.
I'm not surprised he's caught the eye just on how he looks.
When I read it, I actually thought, do you know what? It makes sense that he's the main roster, because he's not doing a lot in NXT. He might be one of those people that does nothing in NXT, doesn't win a title, but then goes up to main roster and all of a sudden he gets pushed. But we'll see. I mean, it's only a rumor at the moment that he's liked, and they're considering calling him up. But I didn't expect him to be the first out of like the NXT 2.0 guys. There hasn't really been anyone yet, has there? It's all been.
Yeah, no, not really. Called up. I think the only match I haven't mentioned is Kiana James beat Indy Hartwell with a foot on the ropes.
Yeah, I want a fan of Indy losing here.
Yeah, I mean, again, speaking of directionless wrestlers, Indy Hartwell's another one.
Oh, I feel bad.
They've released everyone around her, and she is brilliant, I think. But
they've either been released, left, or called up. Austin Theory got called up.
Yeah,
the Garganos have left. Duke and
Duke's still there.
Dexter. Duke's gone on his own.
Persia Pirotta
released, and Dexter was released. So yeah, it's not looking good for her at the moment. And I was hoping they were going to do something with her on her own. But losing to Kiana James isn't a promising fate.
No, I would agree with that. I mean, the only thing from NXT I've got is Wendy Chu doing some weird promo from her bed to ours, and that fussed on at all.
It's just that it's continuing the stuff with Tiffany, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a feud I'm not really invested in.
I think they're having a match next week, actually. I think their match is taking place next week in the Bash. So
the Bash. Yeah, I don't know if you've got anything else from NXT.
No, that's it from me. And I think that's it from this show, because we are doing an AEW chat, by the way, guys, if you listened all the way through wondering what's happening. Yep. AEW will be separate. And if you're wondering where our top marks were, little teaser as well, they're over on that one today.
Over on AW this week.
Yeah, both top marks are coming from there because I did my skid mark, but not a top mark. So yeah, watch out for that video. That'll be on our YouTube channel. So like this one if you're watching on there, subscribe to the channel and look out for the AEW one when it comes. Follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle to find out when we upload our videos. We've got more content coming. No GM mode anymore. It's a bit of a sad
we're
time.
Finished.
Can't even promote that now. It's done.
50 weeks. But if you haven't seen it, you've got 50 episodes to go back and watch. So there's plenty of content there.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be more content from 2K from us guys.
Yeah, and also look out, of course, we put predictions up today for Money in the Bank, which is relevant to this pay-per-view, for this podcast, sorry, it's WWE. So if you want to join in the fun there, again, follow us on Twitter at Recharge Wrestle for details of how to join in and leave your predictions for Money in the Bank. And we'll see you on the AEW show. If not, we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you guys.